Now, here is something worth sitting with for a moment. You have been giving away your power your whole life, and you didn't even notice it happening. Every time you reacted to someone who didn't deserve your reaction, every time you explained yourself to people who were never going to understand you in the first place, every moment you spent your energy on the wrong person, in the wrong place, for the wrong reason, you handed them a piece of yourself, a piece of your power, a piece of your peace. And they took it because you offered it. But today, we're going to look at this differently. I want to show you 7 ways of being, 7 old and rather quiet truths that will teach you how to move through the world without fighting it. How to be untouchable not by building walls, but by simply choosing freely when and to whom you reveal yourself. You see, most people live on a kind of autopilot. Someone insults them and they react instantly, like a knee jerking when the doctor taps it. Someone questions them and they explain at length as if their worth depended on being understood by a stranger. Someone tries to drain them and they let it happen and call this politeness or strength or being a good person. They think that engaging is the same as being strong. They think that defending themselves is the same as being wise. But watch closely, and you'll see they've simply mistaken motion for power. The people who actually carry a quiet kind of power move very differently. They don't react. They don't explain themselves to everyone who doubts them. They don't spend their attention on people who don't matter to them. They guard their attention the way you might guard the last of something precious, because it is precious. It is, in fact, the only truly precious thing you have. Notice something. Every person you'd call powerful, truly and quietly powerful, shares one trait. They are selective. They don't respond to everyone. They don't show up everywhere. They don't give their energy away for free. And strangely enough, that is exactly what makes them magnetic. This is a very old piece of wisdom, really. That power isn't the loudest voice in the room. It isn't proving yourself again and again to people who've already made up their minds not to see you. Power, real power, is quiet. It is selective. It moves the way water moves, around obstacles, never forcing, never straining, and somehow ending up exactly where it needs to be. So let's spend the next while together looking at 7 ways to live this out. You'll see how to become someone people can't stop thinking about without ever raising your voice. You'll see why silence unsettles people more than any clever reply ever could. You'll see how pulling back at the right moment, in the right way, makes people move toward you instead of you chasing after them. Understand, this isn't about being cold or cruel or shutting the world out. This is about no longer living your life as a reaction to other people. This is about acting from a kind of stillness instead of a constant flinch. This is about becoming someone who simply cannot be handled, cannot be gripped, cannot be pulled around by strings. Say it to yourself if you like, out loud or silent. I control my power. Let's begin. The first thing is this. Guard your attention as if it were the rarest metal on earth, because in a sense it is. Your attention is a kind of currency, and like any currency, the moment you scatter it carelessly, you find yourself poor. Here is what almost nobody tells you. Every time you give someone your attention, you are making an investment. You are spending your mental energy your emotional bandwidth, your time, all of it on that person, on that moment. And like any investment, it's worth asking quite simply, what am I receiving in return? Most people never ask. They hand their attention to whoever demands it loudest. Someone leaves a cruel comment, and they answer it. Someone stirs up drama, and they wade right in. Someone shows them disrespect, and they spend the next 3 hours composing the perfect cutting reply. And what do they receive for all this labor? Nothing. Truly nothing but stress and static and hours they will never get back. Here is something worth understanding deeply. The one who decides where their attention goes is the one who governs their whole life. Because attention isn't merely focus, it is a form of power. When you hand someone your attention, you are, in a very real sense, handing them power over your emotions, your thoughts, your very state of being. Think of the people who leave you feeling drained. The ones who always have a crisis. The ones who always need something from you. The ones who seem to specialize in finding fault. Now ask, honestly, what have they given you in exchange for all that attention? Have they made your life richer? Have they helped you grow even a little? The answer, most likely, is no. And yet they keep receiving your attention anyway. Why? Simply because you haven't yet learned to be selective. Here's what those with quiet power actually do. They build a kind of filter without any malice in it. Not everyone gets access. Not everyone earns a response. Not everyone is owed their time. They ask one plain question before offering anyone their attention. Does this deserve it? And if the answer is no, they simply move on. No explanation, no justification, no second thought, and no guilt either. This is where most people trip themselves up. They believe they owe everyone their attention. They believe they must answer every message, every comment, every little tug, meant to pull them into someone else's drama. They believe that not responding makes them rude or cold, but it's really the opposite. To let the unworthy go unanswered doesn't make you unkind, it makes you free. It shows that you value your own peace enough to protect it. It shows you are not available to just anyone who fancies a piece of you. Picture someone sending you a message meant to wound. Your first impulse might be to strike back, to defend the ego, to put them neatly in their place. But what does that actually accomplish? You've simply handed them exactly what they were fishing for. Your reaction, your energy, a piece of your peace. Now picture instead that you don't respond at all. You read it, feel very little and let it go. What happens to them? They sit there, wondering why nothing came back. They check to see if you've read it. Perhaps they send another message, trying again to hook your attention. And all the while you're simply living your life, entirely unbothered. That is the quiet power of guarded attention. You become something like a still pond. Nothing disturbs the surface unless you allow it to. And you only allow that for the ones who've earned it. From now on, treat your attention as something rare, because it is. And rare things don't go to just anyone. They go to those who deserve them. If you like, say this to yourself: my attention is gold. The second thing, silence is the sharpest instrument you have. People are strangely afraid of silence, aren't they? They imagine it makes them look weak, as if not responding, not defending, not getting the last word, means somehow they've lost the game. They believe silence is surrender. But here is a truth that turns that upside down. Silence, used deliberately, is one of the most powerful moves available to a human being. Consider it. When someone attacks you with words, and you meet them with more words, what happens? You've stepped into their game. You're now playing by their rules. You've given them exactly what they wanted. A reaction. And now the two of you are caught in an endless volley that benefits nobody at all. But when you meet them with silence, everything shifts. The game simply stops. The balance of things turns. And suddenly they're the ones left standing there, talking to a wall, receiving nothing at all. There's an old and simple wisdom in this. That people destroy themselves through too much talking, too much explaining, too much reacting. And the ones who endure are the ones who know when to speak and when to let the silence sit there undisturbed. Silence says something words never quite manage to say. It communicates complete indifference. It says, without a syllable, you are not worth my words. You don't even register. And strangely, that unsettles people far more than any insult could. Let's look at why. When you respond to someone, you are, in effect, validating them. You're confirming that what they said mattered enough to earn a reply. You're showing them they got under your skin, that they moved you, that in some small way they won. But when you say nothing, you take that validation away entirely. They're left hanging in uncertainty. Did you see it? Did it land? Do you even care? They'll never quite know. And that not knowing will unsettle them far more than any comeback ever could. I've watched people spend days, even weeks, turning over in their minds why someone didn't answer them. They replay the exchange. They wonder what they did wrong. They invent whole stories to explain the silence, all from silence alone. That is a kind of stillness with tremendous force behind it. Here's something else worth noticing. The more you speak, the more material you hand to those who might use it against you. Every word is information. Every explanation reveals a little more of where you can be pressed. Every act of self-defense shows exactly what troubles you. But silence gives nothing away. Nobody can twist words you never said. Nobody can use emotions you never displayed. They're left with empty hands. Now, I'm not suggesting you never speak. There are moments that call for your voice, and it should be heard in those moments. But let those moments be rare and chosen with care. The rest of the time, let the silence do what it does best. Because here's what people learn about you over time. When you do speak, it carries weight, precisely because you don't waste it. People listen because they sense you don't talk simply to fill the air. Silence isn't the absence of power. Silence is power, worn quietly. If it helps, say this: silence is power. The third thing, withdraw with intention, not entirely. This is where many people misunderstand the whole idea. They imagine the point is to vanish completely, to cut everyone off, to become some remote figure nobody can reach. That isn't power at all. That's simply running away. Real power comes from a more selective kind of withdrawal. It's being present in the world while remaining untouched at the center. It's showing up when it serves something real and pulling back when it doesn't. It's letting people feel your absence even while you're standing right in front of them. Notice the difference. Complete withdrawal is what happens when someone disappears from your life entirely. They're simply gone. and eventually you stop thinking of them at all. That isn't power, that's just an exit. But a selective withdrawal is different. Someone remains in your life, but you've become harder to predict. Sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes available, sometimes not there at all. You're present, yet somehow not fully within reach. And this creates something rather curious in people, a kind of fascination. Think of someone you're drawn to. Now imagine they wrote to you every single hour of every single day, always available, always answering instantly, always making time no matter what. How would you feel after a week? Probably a little suffocated, maybe even weary of them. Their constant presence dissolves the mystery entirely. Now imagine instead someone who reaches out now and then, sometimes quickly, sometimes after hours, sometimes eager to meet, sometimes occupied elsewhere. You never quite know when you'll hear from them next. How does that feel? You find yourself thinking of them more. You glance at your phone, half hoping. You wonder what they're doing when they're not with you. That's the quiet effect of selective withdrawal, and it isn't only in matters of the heart. It shows up everywhere. Among friends, the one who drops everything at every summons becomes, without meaning to, the backup plan. But the one who's thoughtful about their availability becomes the one people genuinely value. Here is the essence of it. You stay in the game without letting the game run you. You show up, but on your own terms. You engage, but only where it means something. And this creates, in the minds of others, a kind of uncertainty. They can't quite predict you. They can't quite take you for granted. And uncertainty, oddly enough, tends to breed respect. When you withdraw with intention, people start to wonder. They start to notice your presence, precisely because it was never guaranteed. Your absence becomes a kind of statement. Your unavailability becomes its own quiet appeal. Your boundaries become your strength. You don't need to vanish from the world. You simply need to stop making yourself endlessly available to it. Be present, but be selective about it. Show up, but let it mean something. Stay in people's lives without ever letting them grow careless with you. That is how stillness becomes influence, if you like. Say, I choose my presence. The fourth thing, notice what happens in a mind that is ignored. It's a kind of quiet chaos. The mind goes searching endlessly for reasons that may not even exist. It builds explanations, invents whole narratives, all in a desperate effort to understand why nothing is coming back. And all the while you, the object of all this searching, aren't thinking about them at all. That is the strange power of simply not responding. It requires nothing from you. They fight a battle entirely within their own mind, and you are never even on the field. Here's how it works. We human beings seem wired for closure. We crave an explanation, a cause for every effect. When someone treats us a particular way, the mind immediately begins hunting for the reason. It's almost involuntary. So when you offer someone nothing at all, no explanation, no reaction, just quiet, their mind simply short-circuits. There's no closure to be found, just silence. And that silence becomes a wound that doesn't close on its own. This has played out again and again throughout history. Leaders who answered every critic, every rumor, every attack found themselves endlessly trapped in their own defense. But those who simply let their enemies talk into the wind, those enemies often wore themselves out through their own obsession. Imagine someone sends you something cruel. They want you angry. They want a response, because a response makes them feel they matter, that they've affected you. You have two paths here. One, you respond. You defend yourself, maybe even try to wound them back. And what happens? They've received exactly what they came for. Your attention, your energy, the proof that they reached you. Even if you win the exchange, they've still succeeded because they pulled you into their world for a while. Or you let it pass entirely. You don't even acknowledge it happened. And what happens to them? They sit there wondering if you saw it. They check again. Maybe they send something else, hoping for a reaction. Meanwhile, you've forgotten the whole thing within moments. Who really came out ahead in that exchange? When you don't respond to someone, you're quietly telling them they don't occupy space in your reality. And that, oddly, stings more than any insult, any argument, any confrontation ever could. Because in a fight, at least they're seen. In silence, they're simply not there. And here's the useful part. This works with anyone. The critics, the toxic connections, the people who drain you without giving anything back. The moment you withdraw your attention, you withdraw their power over you. You don't need revenge. You don't need the final word. You don't need to prove a thing. Your indifference does all the work. Let them wonder. Let them turn it over and over in their minds while you simply keep walking, as if none of it ever happened. If you like, I release what doesn't belong to me. The fifth thing, let go, fully and quietly, of what doesn't serve you. Not everyone deserves the same kind of release, though. There are, broadly, three kinds of people worth letting go of completely, each in their own way. First, those who work against you. Not simply people who disagree, or who happen to be your rivals, but the ones actively undermining you, spreading falsehoods, smiling to your face while working against you behind it. Most people make the mistake of trying to expose these people, to set the record straight, to win back their reputation publicly. But engaging with someone like this only gives them a stage. It makes them relevant. Better, simply, to let them go. Don't expose them. Don't fight them. Don't even grant them the dignity of acknowledgement. Keep building your own life instead, and let your quiet flourishing be whatever justice looks like. There's nothing more unsettling to someone working against you than watching you rise anyway. Second, the critics, the ones who create nothing themselves, who build nothing, and who spend their energy tearing down the people who are actually out there doing something. Here's the odd truth about critics. They need you more than you need them. Their whole identity depends on having something to criticize. Without you, they have nothing to point at. So when you argue with them, defend yourself to them. Try to prove them wrong. You're feeding the very thing you wish would go away. Let them go without anger, without a single explanation. Let them speak into the emptiness. While they're occupied being critics, you can be occupied simply living well. And a life lived well tends to make criticism seem rather beside the point. Third, and this one is more delicate, the ones who quietly drain you while wearing the mask of friendship. They're not obvious enemies. They're not loud critics. They're the ones who slip away with your energy little by little, without you quite noticing. There's always a crisis, always advice needed, always a problem only you seem able to solve. And you help because you're kind. But notice, they never actually get better. The crises never really end, because they were never truly seeking solutions. They were seeking attention. You need to understand something here. Protecting your energy isn't selfishness. It's simply necessary. You can't offer from a cup that's empty. You can't be steady for others while being quietly emptied yourself. So, with all three, let them go. Not with drama, not publicly, but quietly, completely. Stop answering. Stop appearing for their theater. Stop offering your attention, your energy, your presence to what doesn't nourish you. Your time is not unlimited. Your energy is not free. None of it belongs, by right, to people who take and never give. Let go of what doesn't serve you, and see how quickly there's room for what does. The sixth thing, build a kind of quiet indifference around yourself, like armor, though it's really more like water finding its own level. The reason people are able to manipulate you, or drain you, or control you, isn't that they hold some great power over you. It's that you haven't yet built this armor. Let's be clear what this really means. It isn't about feeling nothing. It isn't about ceasing to care. It's about having a say in what's allowed to disturb your center and what isn't. It's being settled enough in yourself that the noise outside can pass right through the room without touching a single thing. Most people, it seems, live as hostages to their own emotions. Someone insults them, and the whole day is ruined. Someone shows disrespect, and they carry the anger for a week. Someone questions their choices, and doubt floods in. Their inner weather is entirely at the mercy of other people's words and moods. That isn't strength. That's a kind of quiet servitude. Throughout history, plenty of powerful people fell, not because they lacked strength, but because they lacked composure. Their anger made them easy to predict. Their pride made them easy to provoke. Their need to always be right made them easy to steer. And those around them, sensing this, simply pulled the strings. The ones who lasted were the ones who had built such a settled inner life that very little from outside could reach them. They cared deeply about their purpose. But the noise, the opinions, the disrespect, the chatter, none of it stuck. Here's how you begin building this. Start by noticing your own triggers. What makes you defensive? What makes you feel you must explain yourself? Those are the small cracks. And people, knowingly or not, will find their way to those cracks again and again. Maybe being called lazy sets you off. So every time it's even hinted at, you launch into a defense of everything you've done. You've just handed someone power over you. Maybe being misunderstood troubles you, so you spend hours trying to make someone see your intentions clearly. You've just handed over your time. Maybe feeling disrespected sets you alight, so you erupt whenever someone falls short of how you feel you deserve to be treated. You've just become predictable, and the predictable are the easiest to move. Now, what do you do with these triggers? Not avoid the situations that touch them. That only shrinks your life. Instead, you loosen your grip on them until they simply stop being triggers at all. Someone calls you lazy, you know your own effort, their opinion changes nothing real. No response required. Someone misreads you, people will always tell themselves stories. Let them. Someone disrespects you, that says everything about them, and nothing at all about you. Keep walking. This is the quiet armor. This is what makes a person hard to unsettle. When nothing outside, you can shift what's happening inside you, you become very difficult to manipulate, very difficult to break, very difficult to control. People will test this. They'll push on old buttons, expecting the old reactions. And when nothing comes back, when they see the old tactics no longer land, they'll either come to respect you or simply drift away. Either way, something in you has settled. This armor doesn't mean you no longer feel. It means you decide what moves you and when. It means your emotions serve you instead of steering you. It means you've taken the wheel of your own life. If you like, nothing outside me controls what's inside me. The seventh thing, rise through a kind of deliberate stillness. Most people believe power is a matter of doing, of working hard, fighting, constantly proving something to the world. They imagine you must always be moving, achieving, demonstrating your worth. But there's an older wisdom here, one that separates the merely busy from the truly powerful. Sometimes the wisest move is no move at all. This deliberate stillness is the art of prevailing by doing, quite literally, nothing. It's understanding that some battles are won not by fighting, but by simply declining to appear. It's recognizing that certain situations will resolve entirely on their own, without your help, if you can only find the patience to let them. It's saving your energy for what truly matters, rather than spending it on what merely demands attention. Picture someone spreading falsehoods about you. The old instinct is panic. Defend yourself. Control the story. Reach out to everyone. Exhaust yourself, correcting a narrative that never deserved your energy in the first place. The wiser path is to do nothing at all. Let the rumor run its course. Keep living with integrity. Keep doing your work. And watch, the truth tends to reveal itself without your needing to say a word. The people who matter already know who you are. And the ones spreading falsehoods eventually look rather foolish once reality fails to match their story. And you never spent a single ounce of energy defending yourself. Or picture someone trying to compete with you, copying you, chasing you, making it plain they want what you've built. The old instinct is to engage, to accelerate, to change course, just to stay ahead of them. The wiser path is simply to keep walking your own road, innovating not because of them, but because that's simply who you are. And while they're busy watching you, trying to catch up, you're quietly creating a distance they'll never close. Not because you were racing them, but because you were never in their race to begin with. This is the strange power of deliberate stillness. You draw people in without chasing them. You become difficult to manipulate because you don't engage with the usual tactics. You become difficult to compete with because you were never playing the same game. Your silence becomes something people remark on. Your absence becomes its own kind of presence. Your indifference becomes the thing people quietly talk about in rooms you're not even in. You become the person everyone wants near them, yet can't quite reach. And here's the graceful part. While everyone else spends their energy on drama, on reactions, on proving themselves again and again, you're conserving yours. You're pouring it into what actually matters. You're building something real, while others are caught up in battles that were never real to begin with. This is how one rises, not by climbing over others, not by forcing a way to the top, but by simply refusing to descend into what doesn't serve you, by guarding your energy so carefully that only what deserves it receives it, by being so thoughtful with your presence that your absence speaks louder than words ever could. Deliberate stillness isn't laziness. It's a kind of wisdom, and in its purest form, it's power itself. So here is what we've walked through together. The strange effect of simply not responding, how doing nothing can unsettle someone far more thoroughly than any argument. Who is worth releasing from your life? Those working against you, those who only criticize, and those who quietly drain you dry. The building of a settled indifference, where your emotions serve you rather than ruling you. And finally, the art of rising through stillness, prevailing without a fight, without confrontation, without a single raised voice. These aren't tricks. They're simply ways of being that, lived consistently, with patience and honesty, will shift the whole shape of your life. People will meet you differently. They'll come to respect you more. They'll find themselves drawn toward you, rather than the other way around. They'll value your presence because it was never something they could take for granted. Your silence will mean something to them because they'll sense it means you've simply moved on. But here is the essential part. None of this means anything unless you actually live it. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. The next time someone tries to provoke a reaction from you, let it pass. The next time someone demands an explanation you don't owe, don't offer it. The next time you feel the old urge to prove yourself to someone who was never going to see you clearly anyway, simply let that urge go. From this moment, you move differently through the world. You draw people in through your stillness. You govern your own life through your silence. This is an old and quiet art, and now it belongs to you too. So I'll ask you this plainly. Are you ready to stop giving your power away? Are you ready to become someone the noise of the world simply can't reach? If the answer is yes, then don't just agree with it. Live it. Say it to yourself, if it helps. I am untouchable. Make it a kind of quiet promise. You are untouchable now.